Hello everybody, welcome to Valley Oak Summer School 2021. I'm Mr. Santos, and I'll be the teacher that'll be monitoring and guiding you throughout the semester for the summer school classes that you have decided to take. Just wanted to go over a quick announcement. You may have received this via Remind or via the announcement here on Edmentum. This announcement is just that I've created a Google Classroom class. This Google Classroom class is mainly going to be utilized by you when needing to submit your guided notes. And so be sure to click on the link there to take you to sign up for that Google Classroom class, or if you have the Google Classroom app, you can go ahead and just enter the code that's right there at the very end after the equal sign, and you can go ahead and add the Google Classroom. And again, this is mainly for you to submit your guided notes either at the end of the unit or at the end of the course if you would like to turn it in digitally instead of having to drop it off at the school. So it's your prerogative of which options you want to do, whether it's dropping it off physically at the school or digitally and dropping it off or turning it in at the end of the unit or at the end of the course. Okay, so one of the things I want to go over right now is just give you a quick run through and what you're going to see here every time you log into Edmentum, so you're clear about what's being shown here. Okay, so one of the things that students always ask a lot is the difference between the current grade and the course grade. Just to be clear, the current grade is that grade of work that you have completed and that has been graded. So there will be times where you might submit an assignment to be graded and you will not get an immediate response because either I or the instructional aides will need to go through and grade that assignment, and then once it's graded, then it will be factored into the current grade. The course grade is the grade taking into account the whole course, including the work obviously you have yet to finish. Okay, so as a semester or as your progress in summer school goes through each of these courses, you'll see that course grade will slowly be increasing over time until the very end when you have completed everything. Both the current and course grade should match. Okay, there's some instances where it doesn't, and that's not something for you to worry about. That's something I will go ahead and make sure I address if that ends up happening. Okay, so you might only see, again, just one course on here, or maybe you're taking two classes at the moment. Some of you may be anticipating another course to have to take later on during summer school, and that course is currently not being populated, but it will be once the due date will be, which should be sometime after June 18th when the second course may start, or it might be different depending on how the pacing guide was set. So when you look here, you'll notice that I am currently behind on our pace that's been set up, and so if you look carefully here, I've only completed one activity out of a total of 29, which tells me we're only about 3% completed with the course, and at the moment we're off pace to that goal of finishing this course by June 18th. And so if you look carefully here, if you hover over the arrow, it will tell you at this point you should have 5 out of 29 activities. And what those activities should be, we can find out by actually clicking all the activities. If you go here to continue, usually it will be whatever you last left off. So if you have finished an activity and are ready to move on to something else, there will not be an option here for you to continue. You'll have to click on all activities to go next. But what I'm looking here is a World History P course. Obviously, you're not all taking World History, but similar kind of rules apply for almost all of the courses. And so if you still have any other questions, feel free to contact me via Remind. So once you click on the course, again, you'll have the current grade followed with the course grade there. Again, your pace tells you here we're off by 4 activities, and so we want to obviously make sure we increase those activities to be completed. You'll usually see student orientation, syllabus as well that you can go ahead and review if you like. Usually Units may be broken down for a class. It can range anywhere between 2, 3, up to even 5 units. I've seen some courses, and what you'll see is the different breakdowns of the curriculum that's going to be covered for each unit. Once you click on that unit, you'll see each of these tasks have the scheduled due dates. And so today, as of this recording, it is June 2nd. So by June 2nd, I should have actually completed these 5 activities, okay, which include a discussion. So I'm going to click on that, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like. So the discussion, it's an activity that you can either do at the beginning or even at the end of the unit. It's kind of up to you how you want to complete this. By reading the prompts, make sure you read it carefully. It usually will give you an introduction followed by a set of questions that you'll need to answer. Please make sure you answer all aspects of the question and provide as much information and as much detail in your response as you can to be able to get the full credit. Make sure it's grammatically correct also. And then once you submit this, it will be for us to go ahead and grade. So this is one of those activities that we'll need a instructor like myself or our instructional aides, Mrs. Garcia or Miss Rodriguez, to go ahead and grade. Okay, you'll scroll down, locate the area where you can go ahead and leave a comment and write your response. Sorry, right here, new response, and you can type your response there. Mind you, this does not have spell check, and so if you feel comfortable with that, then go right ahead. Or if you would prefer, I know some of you may be relying on Google Docs or Microsoft Word, you can go ahead and work on it there and then transfer your response here. Okay, so remember to submit your response. Once you have submitted the response for the discussion, again, it will be graded, but then you can go ahead and start working on the lessons. And so the lessons are broken down by 2 things here, the tutorial and then the mastery test. Think of the tutorial as the reading of your textbook, right? That's where you're going to go ahead and read the content. You're going to go ahead and then use this tutorial to also then complete those guided notes I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the video. So the guided notes will go along with this tutorial. Complete those. You can then utilize those notes to study and prepare before you take the mastery test. And think of this mastery test as a quiz. It's only 5 questions. But with those 5 questions, you must get 80% or better to pass, which means you can only really miss 1 question. You miss 2, that already brings you down to 60%, as we can see here. I took it, played around with it, got a 60%. So you're going to say, oh my gosh, maybe it's lower than the 60. You're saying, I failed, what can I do? You can actually go ahead and review the tutorial, and upon reviewing the tutorial on your end, it will go ahead and unlock this mastery test. There's no limits on how many times you can take the mastery test, but if you're struggling with passing it, then you might consider contacting myself or one of the instructional aides and scheduling a tutoring session where we might be able to assist you. But again, please make sure you have completed those guided notes, because they should really help you in making sure you are prepared for those mastery tests. Okay, so let's say we have passed not just this lesson, but all of the other lessons. And if you're a college prep student, you're going to see towards the end of the unit, there's a unit activity. This unit activity is kind of like a project for that activity. It can be a series of tasks that you do, or it could be leading up to a paper or a presentation, or it's just a series of tasks, and you have to make sure you complete them. Make sure you read the directions carefully. Make sure that you follow it as directed, and that you are as thorough as possible, as grammatically as correct as possible as well, because we'll be using a rubric that's there included. So if we click here on the unit activity, I'm going to go ahead and start with this activity. There's a space in this activity where you can actually upload a file. So let's say you are doing a presentation, or you did an essay. You can upload your recording here. You can upload your Google Docs or any other type of file that you may have on here, and you can submit it for review or you can submit it for score. You can leave comments if you're not 100% sure about the assignment and what you need to do, and we can give you some feedback. And that's another thing, you can also just contact us via Remind. So if you go through the activity, it gives you the introduction, but then there's this rubric. This is the rubric that we'll be using to score your presentation. So please make sure you take a look and see what are the different tasks and how many points are they worth, so you can ensure that you complete all aspects, especially the ones that are worth the most points. Okay. One of the things I forgot to mention regarding the tutorials that does apply here for the unit activities is the save and exit button. Always click save and exit. If you exit or close out the tab, you have the potential of the work that you're working on to be completely lost. Okay, so again, as I mentioned previously with the discussions, on here you have the ability to type a response, right? But there is no spell check here also, so you feel more comfortable working on these tasks on a Google Docs, so you can then upload it afterwards, or you can copy and paste it. It's your call how you can go ahead and complete these tasks for these unit activities. And again, this mainly is going to apply to the college prep students. Okay, so again, remember, always click save and exit. Once you've submitted it, it's another one of those activities that myself or one of the instructional aides will be grading, and so you just have to wait for a response for that. Okay, at the end of the unit, there is a post test. This post test is was basically kind of like your unit test for this particular lessons. If you're a college prep student, you're only allowed to take these tests one time. Okay, it's different from the mastery test. So please make sure that you are prepared when you're taking this test. And then when it comes to general students, you are allowed to retake it once. So again, nonetheless, they'll make sure that you are prepared when you are taking this test. Being that you only allowed for general students to take it once, college prep students you'll be allowed to you're not allowed to retake it at all. So please make sure that you are well prepared. College prep students, you should also have a semester final at the very end, but going over these units and what I've mentioned, it's very similar going forward to the other units. You're likely to have a discussion, the lessons along with the tutorials, and then mastery tests for each lesson. So I hope this video has been helpful and answered a lot of your questions. And as you're working through, you're going to again see these colors changes. So once you actually have completed the task, it will turn green. And so just make sure you keep track of these due dates, and keep in mind that these are tentative due dates. You can work as ahead as possible as you can, or if you have to fall a little bit behind, that's fine. Don't get too stressed out, but just make sure you work through and try and catch up as quickly as possible. Please make sure you do not put these courses on the back burner. 6 weeks flies by really quick. We're already about 2 days into the first week of the summer school, and so just make sure you stay on top of your work, and that if you have any questions or you're having any issues, please feel free to reach out to myself, Mrs. Garcia, or Ms. Rodriguez to help you out with these courses that you're currently working on during summer school. Okay? Look forward to hearing from you, working with you, and helping you make sure that you pass these classes. So again, please reach out via Remind. And don't forget to add that Google Classroom so you can submit these guided notes digitally on Google Classroom. It's a Google form that you'll have to complete. Make sure you put your last name, first name, followed by the course that it's going to correspond to, the sample that you're submitting, the units that it relates to, or if it's for the whole course. And make sure you give the file a title. Okay, the title should have your name, what course it's for, and again, what is it? Is it a unit? Is it the whole guided notes for the whole course? So again, look forward to hearing from you all. Have a great day.